Hey, what's good today? You're watching Meats by Dre, and I'm Dre. I'm also your boy, so what's up? If you want to, please like this video, subscribe, do all those things. I'd love it. Would love to hear more comments from y'all and what you want to have me cover. But I have been getting a lot of feedback about how to start a carnivore diet, or what I call the hyper-carnivore feeding protocol. So first things first, I'm just a dude. I have no doctorate in anything. I'm certainly not a medical doctor. So before you do anything, I would recommend that you speak to your primary care physician about any of these things. Yeah, this is just information, entertainment. It's not medical advice. But I would tell you what I would do to start. So when I started going carnivore, I was already what they call keto-adapted, which means your body has become efficient at burning fat as a primary fuel source. So for most people, especially on the standard American diet, or what most people eat today, they're mostly glucose adapted, and so they're running off of sugar, and your body can run off of fat as well. And that's what, when people say being ketogenic, that's what that means. It means your body's running off of fat because you're not fueling it with carbs. This is actually better in so many ways. Your ketones are a superior fuel source, both for your brain and for your body, than carbohydrates and glucose. They've also been shown to help with many diseases. In fact, before the big pharma revolution, where we decided everybody just needed to take a pill for everything, the primary way that people treated autoimmunity, or doctors treated autoimmunity, the way they treated seizures, the way they treated the very few cases of type 2 diabetes that came through, and even type 1 diabetes, they would treat it with a animal-based ketogenic diet. So the research has been there for 100 years, but it's really been pushed down by the simplicity of just prescribing someone a pill. But there's no pill you can take that you have a deficiency in. So really, those things really dial down to what are you missing from your diet, or in many cases, what are you putting in your diet that your body doesn't want? So anyway, it can be a difficult process to become keto adapted. Carbohydrates, glucose, sucrose, fructose, they're like drugs. And they actually, I think it's glucose runs on the same neural pathway as cocaine or something like that. And it's also been shown to be, like they've done in rat experiments, that rats will prefer the addictive principles of sugar more than cocaine. So that's some crazy stuff. So when you keto adapt, your body is actually going through withdrawals. But if you've ever heard the term keto flu from someone going on a ketogenic diet, it is not the ketones that are causing problems. It is the carbohydrate withdrawal that is causing issues, the same way you would withdraw if you came off of a drug. So it takes your body a while to adjust to that. So you can tomorrow decide, I'm just gonna start eating 0 carb. Or if I was starting over again tomorrow, I could decide to do that. But if I was on a carbohydrate diet, a carbohydrate heavy diet, then I would likely experience withdrawal effects for the next 3 weeks. So that is one way to do it. You just need to be informed that that's a process you're going to have to endure, and it's not necessarily going to be pleasant. What I would do that I think helps the transition better, and I've had a couple buddies already starting to do this in their journey towards carnivore, is I would get like a baseline, say a week of not counting your macros, but really just counting your carbohydrates, having a good sense of over a week, this is how many carbohydrates I consume, and averaging it out to a day. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, like the average person in America is eating like 300 carbohydrates a day, which is a pretty easy number for this model. So let's say that over a week I'm averaging 300 grams of carbohydrates a day. So what I would want to do is say, okay, for the next month I'm going to scale that down to 0, and that's quite easy to average out. So say the month is 30 days long, I've got 300 grams of carbohydrates. Let's just divide 300 by 30. That gives me 10. And so I want to decrease my carbohydrates by 10 every day until a month from now I'm down to 0. So this is what a couple of my friends are doing, and they're experiencing benefits from that. And also, like, hey, I'm too Mexican to waste food, let's be honest, and everybody's on a budget. So it also gave them an opportunity to start consuming, but also processing out some of their food without feeling wasteful, as they replaced things that are carbohydrate heavy with things that are fat and protein heavy. So I think that's a good conservative approach to getting towards 0 carbohydrate without wasting money and with minimizing symptoms. Once someone's at 0 carb, they can stay at 0 carb and start really embracing the principles of a carnivore feeding protocol. For me, what I did, I was already keto-adapted, like I said, because I was having a very low carbohydrate ketogenic protocol before I switched over, and I think I had been doing that for like a good month before I switched to carnivore. So I didn't have any negative symptoms when I switched. I started feeling amazing immediately, but I didn't have any carbohydrate withdrawal. I replaced low carbohydrate processed foods with steaks and butter. So that was definitely an upgrade. And I also have been getting questions on what I eat in a day. I kind of go through phases. When I first started, I had a bunch of steaks from Butcher Box frozen in my freezer, and I just started eating actually like 3 steaks a day. I started eating like 3 ribeyes, maybe even 4 ribeyes a day until they all ran out. And I had a bunch of filet mignons too. For me, they don't have enough fat, so I was adding butter to them, and they're great. They're still delicious. It didn't hit the spot the same way the ribeye did, so I started experimenting with getting fatty ground beef, so like 70-30 ground beef, and I started messing around with making burgers, and also that's just really cost effective. Where I'm at, I can get fatty ground beef for $3 a pound, which is pretty unreal. And so I started experimenting with just making honestly really big burger patties, like burger patties that fill my whole like 12-inch cast iron. And I've played around with some ideas. I think I got this idea from the Carnivorous chef. Check out his channel. Just adding a little bit of cottage cheese and processing the ground beef in a food processor to mix it up with the cottage cheese and then make burgers that way. That's not bad. The cottage cheese kind of takes away from the consistency of the burger, although it does add good flavor. And so I found that like some of my burgers would fall apart, or some of them would end up with like holes in them that weren't there before I like set it on the cast iron. What I've figured out that I really like is putting about 2 ounces into my ground beef mix. So I do about 1.5 pounds of ground beef in processing 2 ounces of sausage. And so the consistency is great. It actually, the sausage seems to make the ground beef more tender and more flavorful. It gives it like a good like extra umami to it. And that's pretty much what I'm doing consistently that I feel really good about, is 1.5 pounds of ground beef with 2 ounces of sausage every day. I don't get tired of it. It's always delicious. It always fills me up. Once a week, I think I'll do something off of away from that, but that is still on the feeding protocol. So I'll do like a dozen eggs and a pound of sausage or a pound of bacon, and just cook that all up together and go to town on that. It's delicious. It's a really good switch, and it's not a cheat. It's just a little bit of variety. So I don't know. If you want to try those things, cool. It's up to you. I know I feel great on them. They're delicious, and I feel great benefits in my body from it. That's all I got today. Y'all let me know what else you want to know about. Let's see some comments and questions on what I can clarify as far as what I do, or just things you want to know about my process. Remember, grains are garbage.